And I have joining me on the news at 7 to discuss the seized and destroyed vessel, the Executive Director of Operations and Technical at Tantita Security, Captain Warid Enisuoh. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
Let me start by, because I mean, this particular story has captivated the attention of Nigeria because, you know, as you well know, you are in that area. The issue around stolen oil, oil theft in the Niger Delta has been one on in the news for a really long time. But talk to us as to how you got wind of this particular vessel. Was it through, have you been monitoring this vessel, or did you get intelligence that this was happening?
Yes, we've been monitoring it for quite some time. We've got a list of vessels that we're monitoring. It's not the only one. There's still a couple more. As you know, the oil in the Niger Delta is more like a breadbasket for the international community. So we planted a lot of intelligence. We also have the capacity to monitor vessels via satellite, which we did. We laid ambush for it. And somehow, somewhere, it fell in, and we had to allow it to load because in the past, we have even apprehended vessels that have not loaded and say, hey, look, you didn't find us with anything. So there's nothing you can do. So in this situation, we studied the movement of the vessel, and the hours of operation are between 9 p.m. in the evening and then 4:30 in the morning. So on the 7th of July, 2023, which was just last week, we decided to go in somewhere about 4 in the morning. And lo and behold, we got there. The vessel was well connected to a jacket that was having a lot of high-pressured oil that was coming into it. So that was the situation. And then, as you know, we are just a security outfit. We are a private security outfit, so we're not empowered to carry on. So we have to do these kind of jobs with the government security forces, who give us the necessary assistance to apprehend the vessel in line with the mandate given to us by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and the federal government.
I want to touch on some of the things you said about this particular vessel and then, you know, just ask you questions around that. Whilst you were briefing newsmen at the scene of the arrest, you talked about how this particular vessel is registered in Togo, but operated by Nigerians. And then you also mentioned that its ports of call are in Ghana and Cameroon. And when you look at these three countries, and we understand that there are foreigners also, you know, involved. But what does this reveal to you about this particular cycle of corruption and those involved?
It is not unsurprising to me because one thing I've observed is probably due to the lack of nationalistic feelings of our people. We are very quick to sell out our country for peanuts. The vessel is a criminal vessel. As you rightly put it, is operated by Nigerians, but registered in Togo. However, what happened was that to portray it as a Nigerian vessel, they never approached any government agency to register the ship as a Nigerian ship. But however, they got some very, very smart fellows, though they were not smarter than Nigeria, to register the vessel in various international platforms as a Nigerian registered vessel. Give it a new name. Its original name was Ali Rizabe. They later changed it to Tura-2. So it was operating as Tura-2 within international electronic platforms, but actually the true name and identity was never officially changed. So in that way, it can sail into these foreign countries you mentioned as Tura-2 there to do business. But mind you, these countries that are accepting Nigeria's stolen crude oil, they know what they are doing. They cannot deny. We got a whole lot of data on them, on how these vessels, and especially this particular Tura-2, was sailing between Tema, the Niger Delta, within Ondo area, and then to Cameroon as well. It didn't stop there. In 2016, they did something very, very funny. What they did was that they loaded crude oil, and I feel so sorry for the crew. Let me say this here so everybody will know. Sometimes they employ these crew and they go on adventures that they really are not properly briefed, but however, they're already there, so they have to carry out instructions. So what they did in 2016 was more of a movie. They loaded the crude oil. After loading the crude oil, the owners arranged for sea pirates to attack the ship. They attacked the ship, and the sea pirates took the ship deep out to sea to carry out what they term operation. We suspect they went out there internationally to pump that crude into a ship that is waiting, a foreign ship that is waiting to take that ship crude out deep and far away from Nigeria. That's our finding.
But let me ask you, because you just mentioned that in 2016, between 2016 and now, you have about, if I'm correct, maybe 7 years, and this ship, succeeded, in coming back to, our territorial waters. I mean, what does that tell you about the security of our territorial waters, and what do you think can do to plug these loopholes? And I also just want to touch on the question I asked you earlier. Do you think that investigation, you might not be part of that investigation, I understand, but do you think that perhaps, Ghana, Cameroon, and Nigeria should be part of because these are where, this particular vessel operates, to be part of the countries to look at while investigation is ongoing?
Definitely. But you see, it's very, very difficult. Countries operate like families. And that is one thing Nigerians must understand. I cannot disadvantage my family because of your family. So Ghana is having its own family. Nigeria is having its own family. I can only protect the interest of Nigeria. But I don't know whether the Cameroonians and the Ghanaians will join efforts to protect Nigeria's interest. I'm not too sure about that. I'm not in foreign affairs. But my responsibility is to join forces with my governments to ensure that my country's resources are protected for its citizens. That's why we are here. So, but on the other hand, just as you asked before now, what can be done, and these vessels that are coming to the coast and closing the coast. It is not easy to catch a vessel that is stealth. If a vessel really decides to behave stealth, only very few countries have got the capacity, and only very few, possibly, citizens that have the knowledge to follow ships that decide to become stealth. But however, I can tell you that Nigeria is one of those countries lucky enough to be able to detect it. But seemingly, if it has got quite a couple of people who can plan and evade the authorities, yes, they can do so. But this time around, since Nigeria took the bold step to bring the private security into this matter, more and more of these type of people are going to fall, because, as you know, the private security units do not have bureaucracy when it comes to matching these guys dollar for dollar in terms of their criminality. We can act very, very fast. We can be able to support our military with the necessary intelligence so that they can act very fast. But in a full government setting, I can tell you, sometimes bureaucracy is very, very difficult. Intelligence doesn't come cheap. You have to pay for intelligence, both electronic and human. It doesn't come cheap, and we have to act swiftly. So these bottlenecks are there. And besides, the intelligence community, both local and international, find it very, very comfortable to talk to people like us compared to talking to government officials or something. So that issue is there. So it's a good thing that Nigeria has decided that the private security companies should partner with the government security forces to solve this problem. And onward we go. I can guarantee you we're going to achieve quite a fair bit of result.
And Nigerians await with bated breath the day that this particular issue around oil theft in the Niger Delta area will become a thing of the past. Thank you so much for talking to us. Executive Director of Operations and Technical at Tantita Security, Captain Enisuoh.
Thank you so much.